My sister shoved me in the lobby of a five-star mountain hotel, and the first thing I heard was not my own body hitting the marble. It was my grandmother's watch cracking against a stone column. The sound was small, sharp, and final. I was sitting on the floor in Park City, Utah, with my left wrist burning, my purse spilled open beside me, and the gold tank watch my grandmother had fastened on me before she died split across the face. The hands had stopped at 4:25 p.m., frozen under broken glass. My sister Talia stood over me in a cream ski suit that I had paid for, holding the keycard she had tried to snatch from my bag. She did not ask if I was hurt. She laughed. "Maya, get up," she said, loud enough for the lobby to hear. "You threw yourself down on purpose. You always do this when you want attention." My mother covered her mouth, not because she was worried about me, but because guests were staring. My father sighed like I had delayed him at an airport gate. "Do not embarrass us," my mother said. "It is just an old watch. Just an old watch." That was the moment I stopped being the daughter who paid, fixed, forgave, and swallowed. 15 minutes later, while my parents and my sister stood beside their designer luggage in 14-degree air, I was upstairs in the master suite, drinking Reserve Cabernet by a private fireplace. I had paid for every room in that hotel reservation. I had also made sure their keycards would never open a single door. The full trip cost me $39,000. The hotel rooms alone cost $25,000. The cost of finally buying my freedom was all of that, plus one shattered heirloom. My regrets were zero. To understand why I left my own family locked out in the cold, you need to understand the promise that kept me chained to them for 10 years. My name is Maya Ellison. I am 41 years old. I own Ellison Studio, an architecture and interior design firm in Philadelphia. Last year, we finished a civic arts center. This year, we signed a hotel renovation contract that changed the size of my company overnight. To clients, I am disciplined. To contractors, I am exact. To my staff, I am the person who knows where every dollar goes. To my family, I am a bank with a pulse. They would never say it that plainly. My mother Patrice would call it family support. My father Vernon would call it respect for your parents. My sister Talia would call it sharing blessings. But I know what it was. It was rent, it was car notes, it was credit cards, it was emergency dental bills that were not emergencies. It was my father losing money in another business plan and saying he only needed a bridge loan. It was my mother crying because Talia felt judged when I asked her to pay me back. It was my sister treating my accounts like a pantry shelf, and I let it happen because of my grandmother. Grandma Evangeline raised me more than my parents did. She taught me how to measure a room with my eyes, how to save receipts, how to iron a blouse until it looked like respect, and how to leave a place cleaner than I found it. When cancer got into her bones, I was the one who drove her to treatments. I was the one who learned which soup she could keep down. I was the one who slept in the chair beside her hospital bed. 3 days before she died, she took off her watch. It was a vintage gold tank watch, small and square, with a cream face and blue hands. She had bought it used in the 1970s after saving for almost a year. She told me it was the first beautiful thing she had ever purchased without asking anybody's permission. She put it on my wrist with hands that had grown thin and cool. "Maya," she whispered, "you are the steady one. Keep the family from falling apart as long as you can." I promised. I was 31. I did not understand that a promise made beside a deathbed can turn into a cage if the living people know how to use it. For 10 years, I wore that watch every day. I wore it to client pitches, court mediations over unpaid invoices, job sites where men called me sweetheart until they realized I controlled the contract. I wore it while I signed checks for my parents' rent-free apartment, which I owned. I wore it while paying off my father's tax debt. I wore it while Talia cried over the phone because her lease was ending, her card was maxed, her brand deal was delayed, her life was unfair. The watch ticked through all of it. Every second sounded like duty. So when my parents' 35th wedding anniversary came around, I decided to do something generous. That sounds foolish now. At the time, I thought maybe generosity could finally buy me softness. I planned a 3-night winter trip to Park City, first-class flights, private airport transfer, 4 rooms at the Summit House Lodge, one of those mountain hotels where the lobby smells like cedar, firewood, and money, dinner reservations at Kumo House. Spa appointments, lift tickets my parents would probably never use, a master suite with a fireplace and a soaking tub looking out over the slopes, $39,000 all in. I told myself it was for them. The truth is, part of me hoped they would look at me the way they looked at Talia when she bought a scented candle and called it thoughtful. That hope lasted until the flight. I had booked the whole family in first class. My mother sat ahead of me with my father. Talia sat beside me because she wanted window light for her content. She had her phone mounted on a little stick before the flight attendant even finished the safety talk. When a glass of champagne came to my seat, Talia reached across me and took it out of my hand. "You do not need that on camera," she said. I stared at my empty fingers. It was my drink. "And this is my shot." She turned the glass toward the window so the bubbles caught the light. "Just hold still for a second, actually lean back." "Your blazer is ruining the color story." I leaned back. That is the part I hate admitting. I still leaned back. My mother unwrapped a gift Talia had handed her before takeoff. It was a pale silk scarf from a luxury airport boutique. "Oh, baby," my mother said, touching the fabric like it was sacred. "You always know how to make a person feel loved." Talia smiled at her camera. "Only the best for mommy." My phone buzzed. I looked down. Transaction approved. $850. Supplementary card holder, Talia Ellison. I looked at the scarf. I looked at my mother praising my sister. I looked at the champagne glass in Talia's hand. And for the first time, the pattern appeared so clearly that I felt embarrassed for missing it. Talia had bought my mother a gift with my money and was getting thanked for having heart. I had paid for the plane, the hotel, the restaurants, the apartment they all leaned on, and somehow I was still the cold one. The flight attendant, a young woman named Olivia, came back quietly. "Ms. Ellison," she said, leaning close enough that only I could hear, "would you like me to bring another glass?" Kindness from strangers has a strange way of exposing cruelty from family. I almost cried right there above the clouds. Instead, I said, "No, thank you." Then I put on my headphones and watched white cloud cover stretch under the plane like a country I could not reach. Before I tell you what happened in that hotel lobby, tell me where you are listening from, because I swear family drama changes accents, but never really changes shape. After we landed, the cold hit us as soon as the terminal doors opened. It was 14 degrees, the kind of cold that makes your nose burn and your lungs tighten. Talia loved it for about 12 seconds because she could film snow falling around her hair. Then she started complaining that the wind was disrespectful. Our driver loaded the luggage into a black SUV. My father sat up front like he had arranged it. My mother fussed with the silk scarf. Talia kept checking herself in the phone screen. Halfway to the hotel, she said, "Which room has the tub?" "What?" "The suite, the big one." "Which room is that?" "The master suite." "Right, I need that one." I turned from the window. "Need?" "I have a sponsor shoot." My mother looked pleased. "That is wonderful, Talia." I said, "You planned a shoot in a room you did not book?" Talia rolled her eyes. "Maya, do not start. It is content. The whole point of staying somewhere like this is content. The point was your parents' anniversary. And they want me to succeed." My father gave a low chuckle. "Let your sister have the room for a few hours. You will be working on that laptop anyway." There it was. My vacation had already been assigned away, because everybody knew I would give in. At the hotel, the Summit House Lodge rose out of the snow like a painting, timber beams, stone chimneys, tall windows reflecting the ski runs. Inside, the lobby was warm and dramatic, with a huge fireplace in the center and chandeliers that looked like ice without the misery. Mr. Calder, the general manager, greeted me by name. Not my father. Me. "Ms. Ellison, welcome. We are honored to have you with us. Your rooms are prepared." My father's smile tightened. It was small, but I saw it. Some men hate being reminded who pays. The desk clerk placed 4 key card sleeves on the counter. The master suite sleeve had my name printed on it. Talia reached for it. I put my hand over the card. No. She blinked. Excuse me? The suite is mine. Maya, stop being weird. I booked it for me. You do not even need it. I have a contract. The bathtub has the mountain view. My agent already sent sample shots to the brand. Then your agent should have booked a bathtub. Her smile died. I had seen Talia angry before, but usually in private. She knew how to keep the pretty mask on in public. That day, panic got there first. Give me the card. No. She grabbed the strap of my leather tote. I held it close. Talia, let go. You always do this, she hissed. You hold money over everyone like it makes you important. Let go of my bag. People began to look. My mother whispered, Girls, please. Not Talia, stop. Not Maya, are you okay? Girls, please. That little plural word told the whole story. Talia yanked harder. Her nails dug into the leather. My shoulder twisted. The keycard sleeve bent under my fingers. Then she changed tactics. She shoved the bag toward me with both hands and released it at the same time. My weight went backward. My heel slid on the polished marble. I reached for the column, but my wrist hit first. The pain shot up my arm so fast I saw white. Then I was down, not gracefully, not gently, down, with my bag open, my phone skidding across the floor, and my grandmother's watch face shattered against the column base. For a few seconds, the lobby became far away. I saw the broken crystal. I saw the blue hands bent and stuck. I saw a thin line of blood near my wrist where a shard had nicked me, and I heard my sister laughing. Oh my goodness, Maya, Talia said. You are too old to be throwing yourself on the floor. My mother rushed forward. For one wild second, I thought she was coming to help me. She picked up the key card. Enough, she snapped. Get up before people think we are trashy. I looked at her from the floor. She was wearing the scarf, the one my money bought. My watch, I said. My mother glanced at my wrist. It is just an old watch. You can buy another. Something in me went quiet. Not numb. Clear. My grandmother had asked me to keep the family from falling apart, but she had not asked me to let them tear me apart piece by piece and call it love. Mr. Calder appeared beside me with 2 security staff members. Ms. Ellison, he said, crouching without touching me. Are you injured? My wrist. We can call medical assistance. No, help me up. He offered his hand. I stood slowly. My wrist throbbed. My knees shook, but I made myself steady. Mr. Calder lowered his voice. Our lobby cameras recorded the altercation. Security is preserving the footage. If you need the file for legal proceedings, we will cooperate through the proper channels. Talia heard enough. Her face changed. Legal proceedings? She said. Are you serious? I barely touched her. One of the security guards took one step between us. Ma'am, please give Ms. Ellison space. The way he said my name did something to me. Ms. Ellison. Not the bank. Not the difficult daughter. Not the sister who needed to calm down. A person with a name. My father came over, red-faced and annoyed. This is ridiculous. We did not come all this way for drama. Neither did I said. Oh, your sister made a mistake. She broke Grandma's watch. We all loved your grandmother, my mother said. Do not use past tense to steal from me in the present. My mother recoiled like I had slapped her. Good. For once, let the right person feel impact. Talia folded her arms. You are acting like I planned it. You planned to take my room. Because I need it for work. So do I. She laughed once, sharp and ugly. You design lobbies. Do not act like you are saving lives. I looked around the lobby. The staff was pretending not to listen. Guests were pretending badly. My father stared at me like I had 10 seconds to become useful again. Instead, I turned to Mr. Calder. Could I speak with you privately at the desk? Of course. I walked away before my family understood that I was leaving the argument, not losing it. At the far end of the front desk, Mr. Calder stood with the calm face of a man who had seen very rich people behave very badly and had learned to keep his eyebrows still. Ms. Ellison, he said, how would you like to proceed? I set the cracked watch carefully on the counter between us. The reservation is under my name, correct? Yes. All rooms, all incidentals, all charges? Correct. Can I pay for the full reservation and still decide who has access? He paused just long enough to choose his words with care. The hotel requires payment according to the reservation terms. Access is controlled by the registered guest and primary account holder. Meaning me. Meaning you. If I pay for every room, can I leave 3 of them empty? Another pause. Yes. If their key cards have already been printed, they can be deactivated. If they demand new ones, we would refer them to the primary account holder. There it was, the cleanest door I had ever seen. All I had to do was walk through it. What is the total hotel amount if I keep every room and cancel nothing? He typed. The keys made soft little clicks. For the 3 nights, including the master suite, 2 deluxe rooms, resort fees, advanced dining deposits, and current incidentals, approximately $25,000. $25,000. To some people that is a down payment. To some, a year of rent. To me, that day, it was the price of proof, because if I canceled the rooms, my family would say I was cheap. If I refused to pay, they would say I ruined the anniversary. If I paid and locked the doors, they would understand the truth. The rooms were never the gift. Access to me was. I took out my black business card and placed it on the counter. Charge the full amount. Mr. Calder took the card. And the room access? Only my key works. Understood. When they ask what happened, I will inform them that there is an issue with access and direct them to you. Good. He processed the payment. I watched the approval appear on the screen. $25,000. Approved. Then he handed me 1 key card in 1 sleeve. Your suite is 512. Thank you. Ms. Ellison? I looked up, his voice softened by 1 degree. Would you like security to escort you upstairs? I thought about my mother picking up the key card before helping me. I thought about my father calling it drama. I thought about Talia laughing while my grandmother's watch lay broken. No, I said. I want them to see me leave alone. My family was waiting by the elevator with all the luggage. Talia was stabbing her key card against the reader. Red light. She tried again. Red light. My mother tried hers. Red. My father tried his. Red. Go back to the desk, Talia snapped when she saw me. Their cards are defective. I walked past them and tapped my card. Green light. The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside with my tote, my suitcase, and the broken watch in my palm. My mother frowned. Hey, where are you going? Upstairs. What about us? Your cards are not defective. Talia's eyes narrowed. I said, I deactivated them. My father's mouth opened. The elevator doors began to close. Maya, my mother said suddenly sharp, do not play with us. I am done playing. The doors slid shut on their faces. For the first time in 10 years, nobody followed me. Upstairs, the suite was exactly what Talia wanted and exactly what I had paid for. Floor-to-ceiling windows looked out at the snow-covered slopes. A private fireplace burned low beside a leather chair. The bathroom had a soaking tub wide enough to embarrass a small apartment, with a view of the mountains and a tray of bath salts waiting like the hotel knew I had earned every ridiculous inch of it. There was a bottle of Reserve Cabernet on the table with a welcome note. I set my bag down. Then I set the broken watch on the mantel. The face caught firelight through the cracked glass. The hands still pointed to 4:25. I touched the band with 1 finger and whispered, I tried, Grandma. My phone started ringing before I took off my coat. Talia, mother, father. Talia again. Text after text. This is not funny. Come down here now. I have a contract. Your mother is crying. You are acting insane. We have nowhere to go. I muted the thread. Then I opened the credit account app. There were 3 supplementary cards attached to my business line. Vernon Ellison, Patrice Ellison, Talia Ellison. I had opened those cards years ago for emergencies, my father's prescriptions, my mother's groceries, Talia's supposed travel needs when she was between jobs. Over time, emergencies had become brunch, cosmetics, streaming subscriptions, ride shares, boutique purchases, and mysterious charges from places I had never visited. I selected all three. Deactivate. The app asked if I was sure. I looked at my swelling wrist. I clicked yes. 3 small confirmations appeared. Purchasing power removed. My phone lit up like I had cut a power line. I ignored it and called my attorney, Malcolm Reed. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Maya, I thought you were on vacation." "I am." That sounded unconvincing. "I need you to prepare a 30-day notice for the Rittenhouse apartment." Silence. "The unit your parents occupy?" "Yes." "Are we terminating the informal family arrangement or the written occupancy agreement?" "Both, however you need to phrase it." "Is this a conversation for Monday?" "No. Draft it now. Serve it Monday. Certified mail, email, and courier." His tone changed from friendly to lawyer. "What happened?" "Talia assaulted me in a hotel lobby while trying to take my room key. The hotel has footage. My grandmother's watch was destroyed. My parents defended her." Another silence. "Are you injured?" "Bruised." "Do you want to file a police report?" "Not yet." "Maya." "Not yet. I want the notice first. And I want the apartment listed for sale as soon as it is vacant." That is a major step. So was the shove. He exhaled. "All right, I will prepare the notice. Send me the hotel manager's contact information and photos of the watch and your wrist." "Done. And Maya?" "Yes?" "Do not negotiate with them while you are angry." I looked at the door to the suite, the door my key opened and theirs did not. "I am not angry anymore." That was the strange part. I was clear. I hung up and poured 1 glass of the Cabernet, then I answered Talia's next call and put it on speaker. "What did you do?" she shouted. "Which part?" "Our cards are not working." "Correct." "Fix it." "No. I need my card. I have expenses." "Use your money." "You know I do not have money." "Then reduce your expenses." My mother's voice came on, shrill and shaking. "Maya Ellison, you come downstairs right now. Your father and I are standing here with bags like fools. That must be uncomfortable. We are your parents." "I noticed." My father barked, "You owe us respect. I have given you 10 years of rent, debt payments, cards, vacations, and silence. If none of that bought respect from you, I am done shopping." Talia yelled over him. "I have a sponsored shoot in that suite. I already signed the contract. If I do not post by Monday, they can sue me." "Then call your agent." "You are trying to ruin me. You grabbed my bag, shoved me into a column, broke Grandma's watch, and laughed. It was an accident. The hotel cameras disagree." That shut her up. My mother came back on. "What does that mean?" "It means Mr. Calder preserved the footage. If I need it, Malcolm will request it." "Your lawyer?" my father said. "Yes." "You brought a lawyer into family business?" Talia brought assault into a hotel lobby. Nobody spoke for a few seconds. Then my mother started crying. I wish I could say it moved me. It used to. Her tears had trained me for years. When Patrice cried, I paid. I apologized. I softened the boundary. I made myself the problem so everyone else could keep pretending. This time, her tears sounded like a tactic that had lost its warranty. "Where are we supposed to sleep?" she asked. "I do not know." "The rooms are paid for." "Yes." "Then let us use them." "No." My father swore under his breath. I took a sip of wine. "Also," I said, "the apartment notice will be served Monday. You have 30 days to move out. After that, the unit is being sold." The reaction came in layers. My father yelling, my mother sobbing, Talia screaming that I was jealous, bitter, old, cruel, unstable, and desperate for attention. I listened for almost a minute. Then I said, "You have been living in my property, spending on my cards, and insulting me with my money." That arrangement ended at 4:25 p.m. "Because of a watch?" Talia shouted. "No. Because you laughed when it broke." I ended the call. Then I took a bath in the suite my sister had planned her little photo shoot around. The tub was absurd, deep, hot, and aimed at the mountains. Snow fell outside the window. My wrist had turned purple where it struck the column. I held it above the water and watched steam climb into the quiet. For years I had thought peace would arrive when my family finally appreciated me. I was wrong. Peace arrived when I stopped applying for a job they were never going to give me. I stayed in that suite for 3 nights. I ordered breakfast at noon and dinner at 9. I sat by the fire with my laptop open and did not answer a single family call. I walked down to the spa with my head high. The first time I passed through the lobby, Mr. Calder gave me a small nod and said nothing. That was perfect. On the second night, he sent up an envelope. Inside was an incident summary printed on hotel letterhead, with a note saying the video file had been preserved in the legal archive pending request from counsel. He did not include the footage itself. Professional, careful, clean. I placed the envelope beside the broken watch. My family lasted 6 hours in the lobby before they left. I learned that at checkout when Mr. Calder said, "Your party departed the first evening." Where did they go? A motel outside town, I believe. They arranged ground transportation through the bus depot. I pictured Talia in her cream ski suit on a bus to a roadside motel, trying to hide the background from her followers. I did not laugh. I did smile into my coffee. Back in Philadelphia, the old life tried to put itself back on my shoulders. The moment my plane landed, my phone filled with messages from people I had not heard from in years. Former classmates, a cousin in Delaware, one contractor who should have known better. They all sent some version of the same thing. Is this true? Are your parents okay? Why would you abandon family in a snowstorm? I opened Talia's page and saw why. She had gone live from a motel room with bad lighting and a bedspread that looked tired. Her eyes were red. Her voice trembled in that polished way she used when she wanted sympathy but not questions. She told viewers that her older sister had snapped at check-in, attacked her, stranded their elderly parents in freezing weather, and cut off their money out of jealousy. She said I had always hated her because she was more loved. She said successful women can still be abusive. She said she was scared of me. The comments were exactly what she wanted. Cruel, fast, confident without knowing anything. People called me greedy, cold, dangerous. Some found the business page for Ellison Studio and tried leaving comments under project photos. My office manager called me at home and asked whether we needed a crisis response. The old Maya would have written a paragraph. She would have explained context, softened language, named childhood wounds, and pleaded for strangers to understand that she was not the villain. That woman was tired. This woman had documents. I opened my laptop and wrote one email. To Talia. Copied to my parents. Subject line, legal notice. Attachments, hotel incident summary, photo of broken watch, 30-day apartment notice. The message was one sentence. I do not argue with liars. Delete the defamatory video within 10 minutes, or my attorney will pursue the preserved hotel footage, assault claim, and defamation damages. I pressed send at 6:47 p.m. At 6:55 p.m., the video disappeared. No apology, no retraction. Just gone. That was fine. I was done needing confession when consequences worked faster. The apartment notice landed Monday. My parents reacted exactly how Malcolm predicted. First outrage, then religious language, then accusations. Then offers to talk if I apologized for my tone. Then relatives. Aunt Marlene sent a message so long my phone needed a nap. She said my parents had sacrificed everything for me. She said a daughter who abandons aging parents invites judgment. She said I had let money harden my heart. I blocked her before the second paragraph ended. My father called from a number I did not recognize. You cannot sell our home. It is not your home. We lived here 9 years, rent-free, because you offered. And now I am ending the offer. Your grandmother would be ashamed. That one almost found the old wound. Almost. I looked at the broken watch sitting in my desk drawer, wrapped in a soft cloth. No, I said. Grandma would ask why you let your daughter carry everybody while you called her heartless. He hung up. They moved out after 23 days. Not 30. That surprised me until Malcolm explained that the building manager had reported several neighbors complaining about shouting. My parents had been telling anyone in the elevator who would listen that their successful daughter had turned them onto the street. It turns out sympathy lasts longer when you do not scream it at strangers holding grocery bags. I had the locks changed the same afternoon they left. The apartment was worse than I expected. Not destroyed, just neglected in that quiet way people neglect what they do not pay for. Cabinet hinges loose, carpet stained, guest bath towel bar pulled from the wall, a ring mark on the marble vanity from one of my mother's hair products. Talia had left 2 bags of promotional clothing in the hall closet, like the place was still a storage unit for her fantasies. I stood in the living room with the real estate agent and felt nothing. Not grief, not rage. Nothing. Then sunlight came through the windows and hit the empty floor, and I felt something else. Space. We listed the apartment that week. It sold in 48 hours. The buyer was a retired professor who wanted to be near museums. She walked through the unit slowly, admired the old molding, and said, "This place has good bones." I almost told her it also had bad memories. Instead, I accepted her offer. 5 months have passed since Park City. My wrist healed. The watch did not. I took it to a specialist because I thought I wanted it repaired. He laid it on a velvet pad, studied the cracked face, and told me the movement could be restored, the crystal replaced, the hands corrected. "It can look almost new," he said. Almost. That word sat wrong with me. I thanked him and took it home unrepaired. Now it rests in my jewelry box, still stopped at $425. Not because I worship pain, because I need one honest object in my house. That watch tells the truth. It marks the exact minute I stopped keeping a promise that was killing me. Ellison Studio is doing better than ever. That is another thing my family never expected. They thought cutting them off would make me lonely, distracted, guilty, maybe even sloppy. Instead, my mind cleared. Money stopped leaking from my accounts. My calendar stopped filling with emergencies that belonged to other adults. My weekends became mine. We landed 2 major contracts after the winter trip, 1 boutique hotel renovation and 1 private residence outside Philadelphia that may end up in a design magazine next year. I hired 2 new project managers. I gave raises. I paid off the last equipment loan early. Then I bought a house. South-facing brick, original hardwood floors, tall windows, and a narrow back garden just big enough for herbs and 1 chair in the sun. I renovated it exactly how I wanted. No guest room held open for people who mistreat me. No extra storage for Talia's boxes. No sofa chosen because my father liked to nap during football games. Clean lines, warm wood, a locked office, a kitchen with 1 drawer just for tea. Nobody in my family has the address. That has become my favorite design feature. My parents are renting somewhere outside the city. I do not know the address. Talia is still posting online, though less loudly. Every few weeks, some cousin or church friend sends a message about forgiveness. The language changes, but the demand stays the same. Be useful again. That is what they mean. They want forgiveness that looks like rent, healing that looks like access, family that looks like my name on the bill. I am not interested. Still, I am honest enough to admit there is one question I have not settled. My parents are not homeless. They are not helpless. They are in their 60s, healthy enough to travel, shop, judge, shout, and defend the daughter who hurt me. But they are not good with money, and without my apartment, their lives are smaller. Part of me thinks that is exactly what consequences should feel like. Another part hears my grandmother. Not my mother. Not my father. My grandmother. Keep the family from falling apart as long as you can. I know I kept that promise longer than anyone had a right to ask, but sometimes I wonder if the final version of that promise is not contact. Maybe it is distance with 1 practical guardrail, a small condo far from my life, paid once, no cards, no monthly rescue, no calls, no key to me, just a roof, so I can sleep without wondering whether my conscience is confusing peace with punishment. Then I look at the broken watch and remember my mother's words. Just an old watch. Not Maya, your wrist is bleeding. Not Talia, apologize. Not we are sorry. Just an old watch. And I think no. Maybe the last gift I owe anyone is the truth that I cannot save people who keep choosing the fire and calling me cold for stepping away. On quiet nights, I sit in my new house with tea instead of wine and listen to the city outside my windows. No one is asking for a transfer. No one is using my card. No one is turning my work into their lifestyle and calling me dry for not clapping. Sometimes freedom is loud. Mine is quiet. It sounds like a phone that does not ring. It looks like an empty guest room I turned into a library. It feels like my bare wrist resting on my desk, lighter than it has felt in 10 years. The watch is still broken, but I am not. So tell me honestly, if your sister broke the one heirloom that held your promise together and your parents laughed along because they still expected you to pay, would you stay no contact forever, or would you give them one last roof and disappear?